Check 1 2. Mic check 1 2.
Milwaukee Speedway here tonight. We have a doubleheader tonight. This is the Triple Crown Cars and Silver Crown tonight, guys, presented by Double Clutch Marketing. I'd like to welcome Evan Pasoko to the booth, and John Westling be handling the cameras. My name's Justin Rose now. Evan, we just have a minute here before we start rolling off here on the grid. A little bit of a late start tonight, but Evan, should be a good one. All the usual guys are out here tonight.
Yeah, definitely. This is my first trip to the Milwaukee Mile here, so I've never seen any sort of racing here, especially not in a sprint car. So I'm looking forward to it. We got 12 great drivers here against a doubleheader, so this is just part one, and then we're going to come back here with another race later on. But it should be a good night of racing here at the Milwaukee Mile.
Most definitely, and let me tell you something, Evan. Somebody we have not seen in a long while, starting on the pole, Alan Bender. He's running with the Beast Racing Chassis, Bobby East, that whole group. He's actually on the pole tonight, and he may be the guy that's going to be in victory lane. Not too many guys beat Alan Bender at his own game.
Definitely row 2, the inside, the points lead of the 2, Vinny Sansone, and outside row number 2 is the 8 of David Cumbo Jr.
Starting the inside, row number 3, the number 5 of John Sykes, and to the outside of him, the number 11 of Dustin Herner.
Starting 7th on the inside, Ray Farlow, and on the outside in the 8th is the number 10 of Ronald Williams.
Inside row number 5 is going to be the 4 of Ryan Steele. Outside of him is the number 7 of Dayton Gank. And I'll take this right here quickly, Evan. So get ready to go green. Row number 6. And starting shot. The 12 of Marcus Steen. The Ford First Mustang pace car gets ready to pull off here as Alan Bender starts to look for that green flag here. We are underway here at Milwaukee Mile as Alan Bender gets the jump on Fred Lampella. Sansone gets a little squirrely. He's down on the inside. We'll have to see if Sansone can recover as he goes to the outside. Something may be wrong with Sansone's number 2. Everybody else looking single file here as we're coming out of 2.
Sansone all the way to the back of the field, about the 4th car from the back. Something wrong with his car. He went all the way up there to the top in turns 1 and 2, and he is still riding the top in turns 3 and 4. So Vinny Sansone, points leader, coming into tonight by a good margin, starting up front. Issues early on. Meanwhile, taking a look back up front, it is the number 1 of Alan Bender out front right now. He has a pretty sizable gap of 1.3 seconds over the number 3 of Fred Lampella that's sitting in second, and the field is pretty much about 6 car lengths apart from there on back.
Somebody on pit road already, Dayton Gank in the 7 car. He is pulling into the pits. I wonder if he had contact going into turn 3 or coming out of turn 4 there on the first lap. He has gone a lap down already, and I believe they're, I'm hearing turn 1 is what it is. Evan, do you have what happened?
Yeah, on the green flag there, you mentioned the 7, Dayton Gank. He actually made some contact with another car on the racetrack going to the green flag, and it was Michael Lampella. He kind of came down on Lampella, and that actually sent Gank out into the outside wall, so he's down. He's retired already. A tough night out for him, but yeah, he had troubles early on there in turn 1, and with these open wheels, your race is pretty much done at that point.
Most definitely, but somebody on the move from the back of the pack, the 4 of Ryan Steele. He is right up on the tail tank of John Sykes in the 5 car. Ryan Steele clawing his way through the field. Can he make his way up into the top 3? Short race tonight here in the sprint cars of 40 laps here on the magical mile here in Milwaukee. Concrete surface except for an asphalt racing patch down in the bottom of 1 and 2, and again down in 3 and 4. Ryan Steele, he's off the pace. He got loose a little bit. He falls back about 5 car lengths or so from the 5 of John Sykes. Everybody single file, but the man out in front, Alan Bender, he is just running away with it. He is pulled out. Lead and not many people beat him. He's
And he mentioned that it's a 1 mile track. Obviously, that's why it's dubbed the Milwaukee Mile. It's the name of the racetrack. But one thing to keep in mind is also there's such minimum banking. We have previous broadcasts here with the USTRA Triple Crown Series where they're at places like Bristol and Dover. This place, the banking into turns is only 9.25 degrees. I mean, that sounds like a lot if you're thinking of a 90-degree angle. That's about a ninth of the way up there. But I'm taking a look at the onboard, and this thing looks flat. These guys got to get out of the gas, on the brakes, and they're really trying to wheel this thing around the corner. So it's definitely a very challenging track for these drivers tonight. But I guess Alan Bender's figured it out because, again, 2.4-second lead, and he appears to be pulling away as his last lap was about a tenth quicker than the car sitting in second place.
Definitely Alan Bender. He's in the top 5 in iRating here on the iRacing service. Not too many people can beat Alan Bender when it comes to a sprint car, and honestly, Evan, I think it's only happened probably 5 times since he's gotten used to the sprint car. Alan Bender, what a dominant force. He's pulled out over 2.5 seconds again over Fred Lampella. Fred Lampella is starting to get a little bit trouble though, as we start looking back in the second, third spot. David Cumbo Jr. slowly reeling in the 3 of Fred Lampella. Fred Lampella is starting to lose the handle a little bit on his cars. He looks a little bit loose coming out of 4, getting down into 1 and 2 here. Lampella drifts up. Cumbo looking low. Evan, we might have a battle for second on our hands coming out.
And another thing you got to keep in mind about that 3 of Fred Lampella. Fred Lampella is sitting second right now in the point standings with 683 points. The points leader, 874 points. Vinny Sansone, that's almost a 200-point gap. Sansone is no longer on the racetrack. We saw he had they just brought that thing behind the wall. He didn't make contact, but he drifted away up in turns 1 and 2. Something happened with that car, and with only 12 drivers here, he's not going to lose a lot of points. But Fred Lampella, if he's going to want to take a step in the right direction, by hanging on to that, maybe challenging for the lead later on tonight, he can definitely close some points because Sansone's out of the race and will finish no better than 11th position. And Alan Bender continues to pull away. His last lap time by the stripe was a 27. Fred Lampella 27.142. So Alan Bender definitely the fastest car on the track, continuing to pull away.
Ryan Steele made the pass on the 5 of John Sykes for the 4th spot as John Sykes just did the respectful thing, pulled over out of the way, just let Ryan Steele go. A lot of respect shown here in this series. A lot of guys race with each other, and especially with these open wheel cars, especially these 850 horsepower beasts. I'm telling you, these cars are like getting into the rodeo ring with a badass bull like Bodacious was back in the day with the PBR of, and I'm telling you, these cars are just one of the toughest cars you can think of driving. I mean, even on pavement, these cars want to go everywhere but straight. And man, these cars have got to be a handful, and 40 laps here has got to seem like an eternity. As one car goes through the grass there, Lieutenant Ronald Williams, he's off the pace and falling back over 6 seconds back from your leader, Alan Bender. Ronald Williams did a great job saving that car here, as it's just tough to control. Went through the grass in turn 4, and he's got his handle back on it, and he's going to try to run down the 5 of John Sykes.
And he's got a little bit of a gap to the next car behind him because he's sitting 6th spot, 7th position, Marcus Dean, about 4 or 3 seconds back from him. I saw that 10 car get a little loose rather, off of turn number 2. So he's definitely trying to get back in the groove. Obviously, when you get messed up, you got to get your rhythm going again. You mentioned it's going to feel like an eternity for these guys. I mean, we are running somewhere around 27, 28 second laps. So it's about a minute for about 2 laps. When you got 40 laps, it's a pretty long race when you consider it. When you're broadcasting, it looks like the laps are going to tick by. But for these guys, especially the leader, when you're Alan Binder, you know you're the leader. You know you're pulling away. You're going to try to be a little bit conservative, but still not make any mistakes. It's going to be it's going to feel a lot longer for him as he tries to stay up front. I mean, he now has a 3.3 second gap over Lampella, so he's doing what he needs to do at the moment, but he has to keep an eye also. If a caution were to come, he needs to not wear out his tires.
Trouble for the 3 of Lampella. I do not see him on the racetrack. I don't know if he's lost connection, but David Cumbo Jr. is going to move up to the 2nd spot, I do believe. Wow, trouble for Fred Lampella, man. He just lost connection is what I'm hearing. And let me tell you, Cumbo and Lampella, going into 1, Lampella just lost connection. And those guys were fixing to go to war here. Everybody's pretty stretched out, Evan. Nobody's really too close to one another on the racetrack, and we may not have another battle here as we put 15 laps down. We're ready to complete lap 16 here going into the books. Just over 20 laps to go here, Evan, and everybody's pretty much where I think they might finish, with the exception of Ryan Steele. He's up to the 3rd spot.
Again, Ryan Steele, that's a familiar name. He seems to always go charging through the field. Started in with no point in the race, and I guess you can forget all that stuff. But I said on Vincent, but because of that unfortunate incident, nothing in his control, just straight up bad luck. He's only going to finish 1 position in front of Vinny Sansone, so that's definitely not what that number 3 team was looking for. And I mean, that took out the 2nd place car, which makes 2nd place now the number 8 of David Cumbo Jr., 4.2 seconds back. Alan Binder continues to run into 27 O's. I mean, David Cumbo Jr. sitting 2nd place is in the 27 3s, so something underneath the hood of that number 1 is making him go fast, because he is dominant and he's not looking back because he continues to pull away.
Alan Binder again showing why he is the number 1 short track driver in the service. Alan Binder just dominates anywhere he shows up to, and like I said, Evan, it's just very rare that Alan Binder misses the setup. And Alan, he's a wonderful, wonderful person. Love racing with him. He just kicks everybody's tail up one side and back down the other. You know, Evan, I'm telling you, not too many guys here really close, but one battle I want to highlight here. As we have trouble, car in the wall, Michael Lampella. Right as I was going to highlight him, he was in the 7th spot, got in the wall coming out of 4, and that gives the 7th spot to Dustin Herner, as Michael Lampella is still off the pace. Yeah, he may be done. That car looks really ill handling, like he broke something in the front end, and I believe he's getting ready to go right down, a lap down here as Alan Binder looks to the outside of him.
Yeah, there he goes.
Trouble for the Michael Lampella, man. That tough luck for the Lampellas tonight, Evan.
And I was keeping an eye. He was battling with Dustin Herner for a couple laps. I know that he actually got loose for Lampella, and Herner actually ended up cutting him a break and checked up for him. And then the next time they came around is when he got real loose off 4 and actually got into the inside wall, and he is now retired. Fred Lampella, his crew on pit road or behind the wall, they're going to try to get back out there and make up some laps. But another tough incident for another car that was pretty strong tonight.
Tough luck for the Lampella family. Alan Binder, he's out over 5 seconds now over David Cumbo Jr. Ryan Steele digging deep. Not sure if he has anything for David Cumbo Jr. tonight. Ryan Steele coming from about the 9th or 10th starting spot. Ryan Steele definitely a good job considering where he started tonight, but probably not where he wants to finish. Ryan Steele's done very well for himself in the Silver Crown Series, taking a couple victories here and there, and definitely was putting his name in the mix last week at the Kentucky Motor Speedway, Evan, in the Silver Crowns. We had a great finish last week, 3 wide to the stripe. Unfortunately, tonight in the sprint cars, probably not going to happen. Binder is just gone. You know, say na, hey, 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 goodbye. He is just gone, Evan. There's just no other way to put it.
And I'm still in shock at the lap times that he's running. He's only running a 10th off of his qualifying time. So the laps that he is running right now, being the leader, is actually faster than what the fastest car in practice was, being Vinny Sansone. Again, Binder's running in 27.0s. The last few laps, he's been at a 26.9. Nobody else is even in his ballpark. Cumbo is sitting in second place. He's consistently 27.2, 0.3s. Alan Binder, rather, is pretty much in a league of his own at this point in the race, and now 5.7 second lead. It's pretty much his to lose at this point, unless assuming an incident were to occur and bring out a caution. But Binder's just running away with this thing. They got that setup figured out, like you mentioned, because he is bad fast.
25 laps down, 15 laps to go here at the Milwaukee Mile, getting ready to complete lap 26. This race is pretty much over, barring any further incident. Everybody is at least a second or so away from the next car on the track. Evan, I have a feeling this is going to be a pretty boring 7.5 minutes here as we're waiting for the checkered flag to fall here at the Milwaukee Mile.
And you have to feel for the 8. I mean, David Cumbo Jr. also running consistent laps, but he just doesn't have the race car to really contend with Alan Binder. Even if he did, I mean, Alan Binder's coming out of turn 4 as Cumbo's going into 3. So, I mean, Binder can afford to make a mistake, not getting the wall, but he's pretty much set for this race at this point. I've been taking a look at their onboards. Alan Binder can just throw his car in there a little bit more, and when he wants it to straighten back out, the car responds. As Cumbo Jr. goes through in the number 8, sitting in the second spot, he just has to give it a little bit more wheel to correct it, and is a little bit more loose off the corners, and that's really what's giving the 1 the advantage at this point.
Definitely. I mean, with a car that doesn't want to go straight, it's got to be very loose to be very fast. And Alan Binder and the Beast Racing chassis crew, Bobby East, the whole gang, you know, what a job they've done tonight. I mean, it's almost not even a fair fight when Alan Binder shows up. I mean, it's pretty much racing for second, and just a magnificent job. I mean, we are watching one of the true talents in iRacing, who I think could take the fight to a lot of guys in the DWC if he ever decided to give that a chance. And man, it is just amazing, Evan, at what this guy is capable of.
Again, the lap time's just so consistent. Again, we started this race with 12 cars. Obviously, we had Vinny Sansone drop back or to the top side early on in this race. Had some issues with his race car. He took it behind the wall. Then you had the 7 Dayton Gank sitting 12th right now, 27 laps down. He made contact with the outside wall. Then Michael Lampella, who had some the Lampella family you mentioned there, sitting 9th and 10th. Fred Lampella and Michael Lampella both 8 and 9 laps down. Dustin Herner has actually just brought that car behind the wall. Not too sure what happened to that number 11 team. This is a recent incident. Taking a look. Maybe some electrical issues with that car. Heavy contact with the 11 into the turn 4 wall on lap 28. The 11 of Dustin Herner made hard contact with the outside wall, so that car is behind the wall now. So a tough night for lots of these drivers. I just picked up on that.
Somebody having trouble here, but he's managing to stay on the track is Ray Farlow. He keeps lagging in and out, climbed his way up to the 7th spot. We'll have to see if he can hold on and at least stay on the lead lap here. Inside 10 laps to go now. Everybody's still in the same spot pretty much. Alan Binder's out front by over 7 seconds over David Cumbo Jr. Ryan Steele's another 2.5 seconds further back from Cumbo Jr. John Sykes, he's running 10.5 seconds back off your leader, Alan Binder. He's in the 4th spot. Ronald Williams rounds out the top 5 at 17 seconds back. Alan Binder, I mean, it just goes to show you the amount of talent it takes to wheel one of these cars, especially around the big track like this. It's such a historical place, too. The Milwaukee Mile opened in 1911, I do believe, if memory serves correct, Evan Pasoko. just what a historic track, and USAC being the sanctioning body that it is. Any win here in any one of these open wheel cars, whether it be the Silver Crown or the sprint cars, has got to be special, even to somebody like Alan Binder.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this place sits 37,000 people. It's located at the Wisconsin State Fair Park, and I mean, it's over 100 years old. I'm reading 1903. That I can't confirm that or not, but definitely an old racetrack, over 100 years old. So the history to be able to get a win at this track, because you just mentioned the Milwaukee Mile, to pretty much anybody that follows motorsports, and they'll pick up on that. So it's such a dominant and get a win, so then you can say that I've raced this track in iRace and see if I ever go there in real life. That'd be a cool thing to check out. But no, Binder, he's definitely got this figured out. 36 lap currently, or the 36th lap going on right now, and he's continuing to pull away now, 8.1 seconds over David Cumberland Jr. And looks like that number one car is going to finish position number one if he continues to go just a couple more laps.
Battle shaping up for the third spot here. Oh no, John Sykes hits the wall coming out of two. Well, in trouble for John Sykes. Can he keep it straight? He goes around hard in the
caution
turn 3
flag.
wall. Caution on the speedway. Wow. That will wrap things up here. Is Alan Binder completing lap 36. We probably will not get this race back under green flag racing. Tough luck for John Sykes. He was reeling in the 4 of Ryan Steele, and I was just getting ready to bring attention to it. It's got to be cursed to the commentators tonight, Evan. I'm telling you. Poor John Sykes and Lampella, everybody. Anybody that I've been getting ready to highlight has been getting in the wall. Just tough luck for these drivers tonight. Alan Binder, you cannot say enough for what he has done on the racetrack tonight.
And Devin, I was taking a look at the replay there with the number 5 of John Sykes coming out of turn 2, lap 36. I mean, the drivers kind of throw the wheel left, kick it sideways, and then wait for the grip to kick back in, and he just nicked it barely. And he got down. He was going to go into the inside. Well, he got a good job of blowing it up, but he was just out of shape. Though when he got on the track, he just wiggled too much, and that spun around into the outside wall. Luckily, our leader really wasn't catching up to him right on his bumper, or something would have gone bad there, and it could have collected another innocent car, rather, so to speak. But it looks like Binder is going to pick up the win as we come by the stripe this time by. To take 2 laps to go, the lights are still on the pace car, so as long as that number 1 can make it around 2 more times, he's going to victory lane.
Most definitely, and great job to the 4 of Ryan Steele hanging on to the 3rd spot. Marcus Dean, he started shotgun. He's going to end up being the hard charger of the night. He started dead last 12th, and he's up to the 5th spot. Gonna take home a top 5 if he can carry it around 1.5 more times. And another person doing a great job to stay on the lead lap, Ray Farlow. Ray runs a lot of short track cars with a lot of leagues, and even in the Open Series, and credit to Ray for doing a good job keeping his car out of the wall tonight and finishing on the lead lap. Good job to him, and really for everybody who does finish on the lead lap, Evan, regardless of the caution, they have done one hell of a job to stay away from the clutches of Alan Binder.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, 30 seconds around this place, and when he has a car that fast, and again, such a tricky track. So again, you got to tip your hat to the team of that number 1 of Alan Binder, but also the other 6 drivers that finished on the lead lap out of the 12 that started. We do have 7 that will finish on the lead lap. Ray Farlow, the last of those who unfortunately had that incident in turn number 3, which pretty much wrapped this race up. Great job by all the drivers. Such a tricky track, in no way easy. And at the end of the day, the dominant car is going to go to victory lane, as the white flag has been out. So Binder's going to come here at a turn number 2, and when he comes back around, he'll be taking home a checkered flag from the Milwaukee Mile.
Definitely, and one thing I want to point out to you, Evan, here as we're coming down the backstretch on the final lap, here at the Milwaukee Mile, if you've ever looked at it on the aerial maps, the center of the turns in each corner is actually into each other. Turns 1 and 2, the apex of the corner is actually closer towards turn 2, and in turns 3 and 4, it's actually just past the point in between 3 and 4 as the pace car stays out in front. Alan Bender, all he's got to do is carry it a couple hundred more yards, and this victory will be his. And Evan, I am proud to say this round's going to go to Alan Bender. Alan Bender the checkered flag here under caution here at the Milwaukee Mile as he accelerates around the pace car. What a job by the number 1 of Alan Bender. I cannot speak enough also for the job that David Cumbo Jr. did to stay as close as he did to Alan Bender and race as hard as he did with Fred Lampella for the longest time until unfortunately Fred lost connection issues. And again, credit to Ryan Steele for being in the top 3 starting deep in the field. What a race we've seen here tonight, and I can only hope that we have a little bit more action here as we get ready to go to the Silver Crown portion of tonight's program.
And definitely you also have to give credit to the 4, Ryan Steele. Again, we saw him last week charging through the field. He started in the 9th spot, the first driver out of the 4 that did not take qualifying time, so started 9th on the inside, row number 5. He's actually going to come home with a 3rd place finish, so hats off to that car and that team as well, bringing the number 4 up for a top 3 finish. A solid night out for that team. Ryan Steele taking a look through the points. I don't believe he's up in the top 25 for this series in specific, but definitely contender in these cars and in the other series as well. But at the end, it is Alan Bender to victory lane after a rather dominating performance.
Most definitely, and we'll have to see if Alan Bender joins in the Silver Crown portion of tonight. I know occasionally he does run with the Silver Crown series. We'll have to see if Vinny Sansone can recover from his problem from early on in the event, and hopefully Vinny can hold on to his points lead and challenge for the win tonight in the Silver Crown portion. Evan, and I got to tell you, we got about another 15 minutes or so until the Silver Crown portion. And John, I don't know if you want to send it to commercial break, but we'll get our final thoughts here on the Sprint Car Series here right after this commercial break.
If you're a serious online racing enthusiast, you need Derek Spear Design, maker of high-quality, custom-built, and 50 caliber strong simulation racing products like button boxes, shifter pedals, component parts, and more. The advantage a championship sim racing driver needs. Rated 10 out of 10 by Inside Sim Racing TV. Check out his line of top-shelf sim racing products, reasonably priced at DerekSpearDesigns.com and in for a no-nonsense ride. DerekSpearDesigns.com today, cowboy.
InsideSimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
plus other listeners where you could hear everything from big 80s metal to classic rock and roll, country radio, ETV, live sports radio, even adult and unplugged rock and roll. HDRadioNetwork.com, one of the fastest growing internet radio RadioNetwork.com. Take it with you, cowboy. Get the mobile app for Android, iPhone, iPad, and all the rest from TuneIn.com.
Welcome back to the Milwaukee Mile here. Alan Bender in victory lane tonight did one hell of a job taking almost a half-track lead over second place here tonight. Evan, a little bit of a snooze fest, but overall I think we did see a fair bit of good racing here in the sprint cars tonight.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we had some couple battles going around. You mentioned there was going to be a good one for the third spot until another unfortunate incident. Again, some of that you always look out here. Vinny Sansone had problems early. We also saw Fred Lampella have some issues. Michael Lampella also. Dayton Gank. I mean, a whole bunch of guys. It just really wasn't their night. And Alan Binder's lead kind of increased due to the fact that a car in second place did wreck out. But you can't take any credit away from him and that team because they were definitely the fastest on the track. Again, they were running laps consistently about 2/10 quicker, and you really can't complain when someone wins that deserves to win. And thankfully for him, the caution came out too late so that they wouldn't go back green. So it is Alan Binder in victory lane. But overall, I mean, it was a good race.
Definitely, and again, we got to thank Eddie Walczyk and Double Clutch Marketing for the USTRA Triple Crown event series put on, again, by Eddie Walczyk. Eddie Walczyk doing such a wonderful job, and I believe it's, I think, $2,700 or so, Evan, going to the winner if they can take all three series.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a great thing that they have put together here to bring the attention to the short track racing here, not just in iRacing but in real life too. And you get to see a different kind of car. We do the sprint cars, the Silver Crowns, and the Tour Modifieds, and it's a great deal that they got going on here, alternating between Wednesdays and Thursdays on ETV Live. Just take a look at the broadcast calendar at etv-eplay.net to see when we are broadcasting again. We're not done yet though. We got a doubleheader coming up. Second race is going to be starting here in about 10 minutes.
Definitely, and I also want to take this opportunity to thank Bob Earl in the VRC Mark II virtual racing seat, a simulation racing cockpit designed by championship race car driver Bob Earl. Who better than a real race car driver, Evan, to design a simulation racing cockpit? And after all, he knows what it means to be comfortable in the cockpit. The design features a fully adjustable seat and frame. Additional monitor stand and shifter mount are sold separately. Proud sponsor of Monday night's RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, seen live here on ETV Live. A high quality and affordable virtual racing cockpit priced at just $349 plus shipping. You can see it at www.bobearlracing.com. And again, if you want to order one today, definitely. Again, www.bobearlracing.com. And Evan, I'm also going to take the opportunity to also highlight Inside Sim Racing, sponsoring tonight's Real Sim Racing Asphalt Assault Series here, seen on Channel 2 here tonight. Inside Sim Racing is your first and best choice for all the news and reviews in online motorsports. Join hosts Darren Ganji and Sean Cole for the latest and greatest in product reviews, simulation auto racing games for PCs and the Xbox crowd, from steering wheels to full-size racing rigs, updates on popular racing games, and a whole lot more. The Yellow Pages of online auto racing, Inside Sim Racing has it all. Visit them at www.isrtv.com.
And definitely everybody can tune into that right now while we're working in between races. The Asphalt Assault Series Thursday nights on ETV Live. JD's in the booth over there with Harrison, so make sure you guys check that out. Also, another great partner of ETV Live is obviously the HD Radio Network. It's the home of ETV Live. The HD Radio Network gives you a variety of stations to choose from, including big 80s metal, all HDR classics, all HDR country, and more. Take your pick and rock your brains out, dude. The HD Radio Network stations are featured on iTunes Radio, TuneIn Radio, and also listed on the Windows Media Guide. Listen today from hdradionetwork.com or take it with you. Get the mobile app from tunein.com.
One other sponsor of tonight's Asphalt Assault Series over on Channel 2 is Derek Spear Designs. I own one of his products, Evan, and I got to tell you, the quality is second to none. Sponsoring in part with ISR TV, Inside Sim Racing, of tonight's Asphalt Assault Series that you can see here on Thursday night on Channel 2 here at ETV Live. Derek Spear Designs manufactures top-shelf simulation racing components such as pedals, shifters, button boxes, and more. Reasonably priced, this is the kind of gear a champion sim racing driver needs. Bulletproof and boot stomping strong. See his gear at DerekSpearDesigns.com.
Oh, we're going to step away right here. Again, we're going to come back in just under 10 minutes for part 2 of our doubleheader. In the meantime, feel free to go over to Channel 2, check out the RSR Asphalt Assault Series race going on right now live. But until we come back, we'll see you guys in a minute.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to Channel 1. This is now the second part of our doubleheader this evening. The Silver Crown Cup cars at the Milwaukee Mile. Same crew pretty much as what we had last week here. We had one hell of a finish last week. 3 wide right down to the stripe between Jeffrey Mays, Vinny Sansone, and Paul Williams. And it was one great race. And let me tell you something, Evan. I'm kind of hoping we'll have a little bit more exciting races than what we just had in the Sprint Car Series here just a few minutes ago here on ATV Live. And a lot of times are really, really close here in practice from what it's looking like.
And definitely, when we have the familiar names, let's run through the points. This is actually a very close, a lot closer points battle. Vinny Sansone sitting out front in the points. He's in the race lobby right now. Has not made a warm-up lap just quite yet, so I'm going to keep an eye to see what he puts up. Second in points, Paul Williams is fastest in practice right now by 0.2 of a second, and he is only 30 points behind Sansone. So this may be our closest points battle out of the 3 series for the Triple Crown, the USTRA Double Clutch Marketing Short Track Series here that we're broadcasting on ETV Live. So keep an eye on Paul Williams. And also on Sansone as we go through tonight's race. And don't forget about Ryan Steele, another name that's familiar. He's sitting third.
Definitely. One thing I want to point out about last week's finish, Evan, is Paul Williams actually crossed the line at Kentucky Motor Speedway last week backwards. His tail tank crossed before the nose of his Silver Crown car did. That was one hell of a finish, and it is unlike most of the most of the finishes that I have seen here on ETV Live or even in my own personal racing experiences. 75 laps in distance compared to the Sprint Car Series. I gotta tell you, it's gonna get interesting here with some of these lap times put up here. Sansone did not put up a lap time. I wonder if he's having some trouble again, like what he had at the beginning of the sprint car race. Time will only tell here as we get ready to run down the grid here. Starting on the pole, the guy fastest in practice and pretty close to his qualifying time, the number 2 of Paul Williams, and starting to the outside of him, the 5 of Thomas Wargula.
Sitting on the inside of row number 2, starting in the third spot, is going to be the number 4 of Jeffrey Mays. Starting fourth, the number 8 of Marcus Dean.
Inside row number 3 is going to be your points leader and defending race winner from Kentucky Motor Speedway, Vinny Sansone. He's in the 1 in the 5th spot. Starting to the outside of him, second fastest in practice, the number 7 of Dayton Gank. And take row number 4 there, Evan.
Inside row number 4, starting in the 7th starting position, it's that number 3 of Ryan Steele. We saw that he was fast earlier in the sprint car race. He has a little bit more time to work his way up to the field. Let's see if he can get it done, starting from that 7th spot. Then on his right-hand side, the outside of row number 4 is the number 6 of Ronald Williams.
Inside row number 5 is going to be the 9 of Thomas Armstrong, and starting to the outside of Thomas is going to be Ian Seeley, the 11 car.
Last car that took a qualifying time is the number 12 of George Hagan, starting 11th, the inside of row 6. Outside of him, starting in the 12th position, it's the number 10 of Leela Wilson.
Starting shotgun. Did very well last week to come up to the field. And he's starting from pit road tonight is actually going to be the 13 of Daniel Muse. Daniel Muse, again, starting from pit road, probably not too happy with what he has as far as the setup here. 75 laps on the board here. A lot of time for drivers to make moves from the back of the pack, Evan. And let me tell you something. Look out for Paul Williams. He is a man on a mission after last week.
I just love watching these cars, and it's going to be a great race. 75 laps, it's almost twice as long as the race we saw before this, and with lap times only 3 seconds quicker, it's going to be a long race, and that gives these drivers mid-pack a fair shot at it. The field works their way off turn 4. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car is already down the pit road. Green flag is in the air. Paul Williams is going to open up to the lead, getting that good jump. Battle for second going into turn 1. It's the 5. Thomas Wargula on the inside, trying to hold off the 4 of Jeffrey Mays. Mays is going to use that top side and pick up second off 2.
Wargula into the wall and shuts the door on Jeffrey Mays. going into 3 there. Sansone, he's on the bottom of Jeffrey Mays. Sansone gets through, looking to the inside on second. Move Sansone from 4th to 2nd in 1 corner. What a move. Jeffrey Mays is falling back. He actually fell almost outside the top 5. He was actually up on the high line and moved Dayton Gank right up there with him.
The 3rd spot is the 5. Thomas Wargula on the top side. Here comes the 3 of Ryan Steele. Going to look to the inside into turn number 3. He's going to hold it there almost down to that white and yellow line. Oh, big wiggle for the 5. Gets wicked sideways, and it's going to be the 3. Ryan Steele picking up that spot. Now they're side by side right behind. Dean sitting there to his inside. There goes the number 4 of Jeffrey Mays to pick up that spot. So they're still getting things sorted out. But meanwhile, all this has been going on. Paul Williams up to a 2-second lead.
Paul Williams, a man on a mission, but let's forget about what's going on at the front of the field. This battle back here in the middle of the pack is getting really interesting. Leela Wilson's from the 12th spot, last on the grid, taking the green flag. She's moved up to the 8th spot as Dayton Gank seems to be taking his time, and he's falling back to the field. Leela Wilson again to the inside of the 8 car of Marcus Dean. Marcus Dean is trapped on the high side as we have trouble. 1 car around in 2.
Oh, caution flag is going to fly. You mentioned the incident happening in turn number 2. Going to take a look through the replay and try to find the exact reason. It is Ronald Williams in the number 6, who was sitting in a 6th position. Let's see, he was driving around the racetrack in 6th, right in front of the 8 of Marcus Dean, and he had Dean and Wilson battling behind him. Just got in there too hot, and I'm taking a look. I'm at the replay. Remember, these guys try to swing that rear end out of the car and then wait for the grip to pick back in, and that's how they get their drive. And I'm taking a look at the onboard. He really didn't stand a chance. It got sideways, never came back around, and as soon as he hit the grass on the inside, spun that around. And thankfully, he's not going to get into the wall or anything, so he should be still good to go, but he's going to be starting at the back of the field.
Most definitely, and that helps Daniel Muse, who started from pit road. He's going to actually be the last car on the track and on the lead lap. He's going to be at the tail end of the longest line. But what this really negates is Paul Williams' 3-second advantage he had right as the caution flag came out.
And definitely, and this is something that we didn't see in the other race, an early caution. Obviously, the caution that we got ended up ending the race, and the winner was pretty much determined already at that point, but it finished things off. You mentioned that's really going to help the 13 of Daniel Muse. I'm taking a look at his lap times. Fastest lap so far in the race is a 28.374. The leader, Paul Williams, a 26.9. So I'm not really sure if that 13 is competitive enough to literally drive all the way up through the field and challenge. Let's see if he can pick up a couple spots here around the back of the field, but I don't think he's quite satisfied with the handling on that number 13 at the moment.
Never say never, Evan, as what we've seen here in the last couple weeks here in the Silver Crown Series. Three wide finish again, and one can only hope with the 3 guys at the front of the field here: Paul Williams, Vinny Sansone, Ryan Steele. This is the same song and dance every single week. We're here with the Silver Crown Series. You have Jeffrey Mays, who's in the 5th spot. He's also right there in the, getting ready to jump on a mistake that Thomas Wargula might make, and then these 4 will be right back together at the front of the field, running together like they always do. Time will only tell, Evan, but we may have another good finish on our hands here, but it's way too early to tell here as we're just coming around to complete the 7th lap here as we're on the backstretch. We're inside 70 laps to go, but it's still a long distance here.
And definitely the field doubling up now, so we're going to get ready to go green next time back around to the start-finish line. Paul Williams on the inside, second in points. Points leader, Vinny Sansone. I'll tell you, that move that he made on the inside was a hell of a one at that, picking up 2 spots in one corner, starting second. So Paul Williams pace car down to pit road. Paul Williams is going to take the green flag. We're back out here racing at the Milwaukee Mile to take lap number 8. Sansone going to be able to hang on to the second spot. Ryan Steele settles back into the third spot, and we're working our way off 2 with Paul Williams about a 4-car length.
Coming out of 2, the battle is on for the 4th spot. Thomas Margula, he's on the outside of the 4. Jeffrey Mays looking to the inside. Who's going to get it in the 3? Give it to Mays. Wow, they are really sideways at this long track. Leela Wilson right behind there is almost trouble there, as Marcus Dean had to lift out of the throttle really hard to get into the tail tank of Leela Wilson. Leela doing a good job driving up from the back of the pack. Man, these guys are getting a little bit crazy. Margula's in the grass and gone around.
Yeah, that car off track, you mentioned it there. Thomas Wargula issues. Going to take a look at the replay here. We were running on lap 9, sitting in the 5th position, just got loose, and as soon as he got down to there to the bottom, he really had no chance of saving it, and he kept it off the wall, and it's going to drop him back or to the back of the field, but at least he's still in the race. So if we get another caution, he'll be able to pick up a couple more spots, but a nice piece of driving there for him. Meanwhile, back up front, Paul Williams with a 4/10 of a second lead over Vinny Sansone. Going to take a look through our field, pretty much single file that. We have a good battle for the 7th spot. 7th spot right now is the 8 of Marcus Dean. Right behind him by about a car length is a 9 of Thomas Armstrong. Keep an eye on these guys be battling for that spot not too shortly here, as actually Armstrong loses a bit of time there going into 1.
Well, these guys are trying different lines, Evan. You know, the thing with these Silver Crown cars, they have that aerodynamic nose, and they can take the air off of them if you do it just right. You know, these guys are trying to look for every single advantage coming out of the corner. The guy who can keep it right down on the bottom is going to get the stronger drive, keep the car straighter, more straightaway speed. And let me tell you something, these guys might raise a little bit of a ruckus here right about halfway or so as everybody tries to get in position for the sprint to the green flag here. And with the laps being so long and the corners so long, Evan, I dare say if we get another caution, we may see some green flag pit stops. Caution flag pit stops, I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we now have our first car losing lap. Ronald Williams to the garage. Gonna take a look. He had an incident. Let's see if we can get this on replay. Not too sure. Lap 11. It is the number 6 Ronald Williams, currently being shown in 13th position on the inside. Got way down under that thick yellow line. Spun it around off 2. Hard contact with the inside wall. Too much damage to get that thing fixed. So that is going to be our first fatality of the track, so to speak. Ronald Williams to the garage. They are done for the race after contact with that inside wall. So he is going to finish 13th position, 2 laps down at the moment, but that's going to increase as time goes on.
One battle shaping up on the racetrack right now is going to be the battle for 9th, 10th, and 11th. George Hagan, Ian Seeley, Thomas Margula, these guys are all over each other trying to get into that top 10 and make their way back up to catch the pack here, as these guys are 4 seconds from the pain pack.
Oh, Seeley around.
Seeley goes around and hits the inside wall out of 4, and that might bring out the caution flag.
Yep, caution flag out here at the Milwaukee Mile. Lap 14 coming out of turn 4, the 11 Ian Seeley. You mentioned he was in that battle. Spun it around, and I'm taking a look the way these guys are wrecking it. They really got no shot, and he realized he couldn't save it. Tried to spin around and go straight again, and he ended up making contact with the inside wall. Caution's going to fly. Anything that Paul Williams had made up on Sansone is gone. And you mentioned, will we see anybody take a pit stop? Still relatively early on in this race, as the leader currently being shown lap 16 of 75. But this is going to bring out our second caution of the night to this point.
Yep, 15 laps down, 60 laps to go. Very long time left to go in this race, Evan. And let me tell you, you know, it's pretty much the top 3 and then everybody else. I mean, they were breaking away from each other there. And even then, if you dare say, Evan, that Paul Williams is definitely like Alan Bender was in the sprint car race, definitely showing he's the dominant car early on, and we'll have to see if that continues as the race goes on. Paul Williams, like I said, man on a mission. If he would have kept his car straight last week, Evan, I think he would have took the checkered flag at Kentucky. But again, bad luck bites him in the tail and spins it around right at the start finish, handing the win by 500ths of a second to Vinny Sansone. Definitely exciting, but I bet you Paul wants that sweet taste of victory this week.
Yeah, and we saw him. He was the one throwing it down there on the inside, trying to make it stick. Did to put himself in the second position right now. However, Paul Williams is the fastest. I keep messing around with all the telemetry information here. I mean, Sansone's fastest lap was a 27.0. Paul Williams' fastest lap in the race, a 26.9. So you could say consistently running faster is Paul Williams than we saw. I really thought Sansone would pressure for him early there because we saw Sansone just drive through the field on that first green flag run, but once he got to him, he was able to hang on to the second spot. He didn't get a challenge from the third place car being Ryan Steele, but he really couldn't do anything with it, and that actually allowed Paul Williams to drive out to a little bit of a lead. But we're going to group him back up here and go for it again as the pace car comes by to take lap 18. Lights are still going to be on.
Probably take the green flag with about 56 laps to go or so, because we do have one car a lap down in the garage. That's going to be Ronald Williams. Ian Seeley is still sitting on pit road, hopefully trying to get some of that damage fixed from getting into the turn 4 wall. Don't know if he's still going to be competitive enough to make a challenge there. But again, like I said, with Daniel Muse starting from pit road early, he may not be competitive on the track as far as lap times go, but he's slowly starting to creep up the field from guys who are making mistakes.
And definitely take this moment to thank another one of our great sponsors here at ETV Live, Gary Mercer Trucking. Dude, if your pickup truck is too small for the load, get a real truck to haul it. Sponsoring drivers in several iRacing official series, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated provides long and short haul options for hauling furniture, perishables, even refrigerated products, and a whole lot more. With storage facilities in the United States and Canada, CTPAT approved and fast express delivered, Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated is the best choice to haul your load. Give the old pickup a rest and call Gary Mercer Trucking Incorporated at 800-668-2980 or check it out at gmercer.com.
Just taking a look at the front end here of the number 11 of Ian Seeley. Heavy front damage still. That car's got to be a handful, and I doubt he's going to have much of a challenge to move up to the pack, as I do believe we are one to go here. Paul Williams, they are doubled up, getting ready to enter 3. Evan, we'll have to see what kind of restart Sansone gets, but right now it's been a Paul Williams show all race long.
And you got to keep an eye on Ryan Steele there, third that you can be in, because Paul Williams has to make sure he's not in front of Sansone. Steele can go when he sees that 2 go, so look for Steele to try to jump into the second spot. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car goes all the way up to the outside wall, turn 4, dives down to pit road. Paul Williams is off, green flag back out at the Milwaukee Mile. Sansone going to easily slide into the second position. We're side by side for fourth. The 4, Jeffrey Mays on the outside, is going to look to make it stick, and he'll hang on for now. Paul Williams up front now by 3 car lengths.
Battle heating up for the 4 spot. The 7 of Dayton Gank has recovered, and he's right up on the tail tank of the 4 of Jeffrey Mays. Jeffrey Mays shuts the door on Dayton Gank going into 3, coming around on a 4. Jeffrey Mays starting to pull out a little bit. Starting to reel in the 3 of Ryan Steele. Jeffrey Mays was a big factor in last week's race at Kentucky Motor Speedway. And in fact, the top 4 right now, with the exception of Vinny Sansone and Paul Williams, being swapped around with 1, 2, 3, and 4 in points. And let me tell you something. It was, we have contact. Ryan Steele goes around the 4 of Jeffrey Mays, gets into him. Ryan Steele keeps it going. One other car involved. Man, tough luck for Ryan Steele. No favors given right here on the racetrack here at the Milwaukee Mile as we're under caution again. 20 laps in, 55 laps to go.
It was the Ford Jeffrey Mays. He came over the radio and apologized. Ryan Steele surprisingly accepting of it. So let's see if that breeds to anything. Steele ended up getting turned around. They're discussing the incident right now. Dayton Gank went to avoid Steele, ended up going way up there in the marbles, and then actually made it through pretty much. An unfortunate incident for another fast car, Ryan Steele, an unfortunate bystander in that, and the Ford discussing it, pretty much saying that he tried to throw it in there, and Steele really just didn't pick up the gas as soon as he is expecting it. It was just an unfortunate incident. Obviously, nothing intentional, but that is going to put us under our third caution flag of the night, and we're not even a third of the way through this thing.
2 takers on pit road is going to be the 11 car of Ian Seeley and Ryan Steele. After that spin, he's going to take 4 fresh Hoosier tires. That might be what benefits Ryan Steele and get him back to the front and possibly in a victory lane tonight. As we've mentioned before, Evan, these guys are just throwing it in the corners. 20 laps of tire wear can be a lot, even though we probably spent around half of that under the caution flag. 10 laps of hard green racing is still 10 laps of hard green racing, and if you have fresher tires, it would lend itself to think that you could be as fast or faster than the leader come the end of the race.
And definitely, when you speak of the leader, obviously you saw a dominating performance in the first race here on our doubleheader. Paul Williams seems to have the dominant car of the night. You talk about setups. Let's take another moment to thank another one of ETV Live sponsors, actually a recently new one, the Setup Analyzer. If you need a crew chief, here's the next best thing. It's Mark Montanari's sim racing setup analyzer. As you test the car, you enter the data into the analyzer, and it gives you real recommendations to make changes. So join the ranks of some of the fastest guys in sim racing and get the equalizer and start tuning your wrecks into wins at the click of a mouse. It's the sim racing setup analyzer, and it's the only crew chief you'll need. It's a pretty cool deal. Check them out. Setupanalyzer.com. So that's recently new to ETV Live. So if you're looking for the upper hand, make sure you guys check that out.
Definitely a great product, and I know it's helped me start to understand some of the upper level cars like the Cup car and the Nationwide car and even the truck. Some of that stuff's still pretty foreign to me with how they've been setting that stuff up. But let me tell you something. That's one great product, and I recommend you folks check out Mark Montanari's product. Ryan Steele, he's going to end up restarting 10th or so at the tail end of the longest line. I do believe he possibly sped on pit road. We'll have to see here as we're getting ready to double up and send him back green here coming up on lap 25.
And definitely, iRacing constantly doing new builds. Sometimes your setup will get out of date, and you're kind of stuck like me. After one of the most recent ones, half of my setups didn't work anymore, and I really need to try to figure that out because I don't know anything about tuning. So that could definitely help me out. Another quick note to mention: the 10 of Lilo Wilson. Back to the garage, another electrical issue. Second time we've seen that tonight out of a competitive car. We know that she actually worked her way up quite a bit through the field, but on the last caution, so we're looking to go back green with 10 cars on the lead lap. And at the end of that train is the 3 of Ryan Steele, looking to work his way back up to the field here as we will be taking lap 26 when we get the green as we work through 4.
The Ford First Mustang pace car gets ready as it creeps out of turn number 4. Paul Williams, he's got his eye intently on the restart stripe, looking to get that jump on the 1 of Vinny Sansone. The Ford First Mustang pace car is on pit road. We are back under green flag racing. Sansone gets a great jump, and so does the 4 of Jeffrey Mays. Pulls to the inside of Gank. He retakes the 3rd spot. We are single file probably all the way to back about the 7th spot or so with George Hagan. He's stuck on the outside. around the outside. He is going to use the outside of the very, very low banked racetrack to get it done. Ryan Steele, mission, look out, he is a missile coming to the front.
And here comes Thomas Wargula in the 5 trying to follow Steele, and we've seen the bottom line almost be more dominant making passes tonight. That 12 though, George Hagen dropping back, he's hanging tough right now. Again, this is a battle for 9th spot, but down the back straightaway it is going to be the 5. Wargula is going to get the edge and make that pass. They'll send the 12 of George Hagen back into the 10th or 9th position. Right now, can we look back up front, Paul Williams with a 0.2 second lead and slightly gaining Sansone, really throwing it in there in turn number 1, trying to make it work. He's going to make it stick. He made up a lot of time, but Paul Williams is going to get run off of the corner for now, still up front.
You know, that's something to keep in mind here, is minus Ryan Steele coming back to the pack. I'm telling you, the guys that are at the front of the field right now in their own little group of 3 are the same 3 we've seen contend for wins week in and week out. But nevertheless, Ryan Steele, again, man on a mission, creeping up on the tail tank of the 9 Silver Crown car of Thomas Armstrong as there's a battle in front with Dayton Gank and Marcus Dean. These guys are almost coming together here, getting into one here. Is the 9 car right behind him has a bad hospital wiggle coming out of 2. These guys are all creeping right up on each other, and this could explode here just to.
Yeah, definitely just keep an eye on this battle. The 4th place car 8, Marcus Dean is going to get a run on Jeffrey Mays. Look to the inside, or rather Dayton Gank getting a run on Marcus Dean, rather. Sorry about that. The 7, Dayton Gank, took a look to the inside, couldn't get a work going in. Turn number 3 just didn't get that slingshot that he wanted, and he's going to lose a bunch of time that he made up there. So we're going to have to keep an eye on this battle, but he seems to charge it back in there in 3. So Dayton Gank with a fast race car trying to move past the 8 of Dean off turn number 4. Still can't get it done, but he is closing. Going to look to the inside possibly and try to get that draft.
The 8 car, Marcus Dean, shuts the door on Dayton Gank, but Ryan Steele, he's creeping up into the picture, looking to the inside, now looking to the outside, coming out of 2. Ryan Steele looking every which way he can to get around the 7 of Dayton Gank. Steele again to the outside, and Dean shuts the door on Dayton Gank, takes away that low line. Gank to the outside, Steele to the inside. They're almost 3 wide. Yeah, what a run. Almost 3 wide off of 4.
And now put Ryan Steele back up. But Steele, after starting 10th, up to 5th already. He gets past Marcus Dean. He's got a big gap to the 3rd place car of Jeffrey Mays, because right now Dean's sitting 4th, 4.3 seconds back of the leader. And then Mays sitting 3rd is only 4 tenths. Mays sitting in 3rd, 4 tenths back. So a big gap back to these guys, but definitely Ryan Steele with a fast race car trying to work his way back up and looking to set up Marcus Dean in the coming laps right now.
Most definitely Steele looking to the inside of Marcus Dean. Dean shuts the door, keeps Ryan Steele right behind him, coming down the straightaway. Steele looking to the outside. He drifts up. Dayton Gank looking to the inside of Steele. Steele looking to the outside of Marcus Dean, coming out of 4. We are single file, and Ryan Steele gains the spot back over Dayton Gank, right up on the tail tank of Marcus Dean. Again, looking to the outside. Marcus Dean shuts the door. Gank looking to take advantage of the slip-up by Steele. He gets the door shut on him, and Steele looks back to the inside. I'm telling you, Evan, the outside is not going to be the way to get it done getting up through the field.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I touched on that earlier. It seems that the inside is the fastest way, except if you're Ryan Steele. Don't tell him that. Let's take a look, because Steele, if we can get a camera on the 4th place car right now, the 8 Marcus Dean has pressure. Ryan Steele trying to make it work on the top, can't make it stick for now. He's going to get way loose off turn 2, and now the 7 of Dayton Gank's going to go to the inside, down the back straightaway. They're going to get real close, going into 3. 7's going to back up on the top with the advantage, and now here comes Gank to the inside. He's going to go back around Ryan Steele, and now Thomas Wargula may also make the move on Steele going into 1.
Margula recovering after an early spin. He's right up on the tail tank and almost gets into Ryan Steele. What a job by Margula to back off, knows when to apply the pressure to Ryan Steele. I think Steele might be trying to let his tires cool off. I know he was overheating them a bit, looking to the outside. And I got to tell you, Marcus Dean doing one hell of a job to hold up everybody else behind him. As we're too wide now. 2 rows deep here as Dayton Gank looks to the inside, now looking to the outside, maybe looking to cross him over here coming out of 2 as Dayton Gank gets right up on the tail tank, car coming off of pit road, Dayton Gank looking to the outside and inside, and Marcus Dean is just not giving anybody an inch on this racetrack.
And definitely something also to keep an eye on. I mean, I saw that 3, Ryan Steele, 6th position. He may have burned up his tires because he's gotten way loose out of 2 the last couple of laps. It looks like he's just really thrown it in there, and if it doesn't stick, you'll see, because he'll get a big wiggle, and that's how he lost a bunch of time. But if he can make it stick, he makes up time like that, because he's now closing on the 7 of Dayton Gank right now down the back straightaway. About 1.5 car lengths going into 3. Let's see if he swings it in down bottom or try to make it work on the top again. He's going to stay down there on that bottom for now. He's going to get around on the 7. Look to the inside. Still working under the green flag right now at the Milwaukee Mile here back, or still under green flag rather, at a little bit of technical issues back here. Currently Paul Williams still sitting in the lead with a 2/10 of a second lead over Vinny Sansone, which has been pretty consistent through this most recent green flag run. Jeffrey Mays in the 4, sitting in the 3rd spot. 5 off of Williams and the nearly 3 off of Sansone. So this top 3 is broken away from the field by a good margin, because the 4th place car right now, the number 3 of Ryan Steele, 7.7 seconds back, and Sansone closing on Williams for the lead.
Definitely Sansone creeping right up on the tail tank of the number 2 car of Paul Williams. I have to apologize, folks. We lost our voice service, so we're back full-fledged right now as we're coming up on 30 laps to go, getting ready to complete lap 35. One hell of a job done by Marcus Dean. His tires are falling away. Ryan Steele definitely held up and lost several seconds and needs a caution in order to get back up and challenge for the win. But don't count out Sansone, though. He's right there, 1 or 2 car lengths back from the number 2 of Paul Williams in the first and second spot here. Let me tell you, Evan, we may have another really good finish on our hands here as we're inside 30 laps to go now.
And again, Sansone so consistently there with Williams. Jeffrey Mays has lost a tenth the last couple of laps. He may be losing his race car, but Sansone will drop back to the distance that we see him at now, just about 2/10, and he'll really throw it in there in turn 1. You see, he's trying to get anything that he can, sliding up a little bit more than Williams, just trying to push a little bit harder to make up ground, and he can do it, but the problem is I don't think Sansone has the power to pass right now, so he's going to try to force an issue on the 2. You see, continuing to closing, trying to make something work, but Sansone is there, and he's not letting that 2 car out of his sight.
Definitely not lap traffic in a way. Leila Armstrong is back on the track out in front of the leaders. She's going to take the high line. Good job with her, giving the leaders all the room they need to race for the lead. And definitely, the pressure is on. Inside 30 laps to go. Paul Williams out front by 2/10 over Vinny Sansone. Sansone just 2 cars back.
Again, that is the 10, Layla Wilson, who had some connection issues earlier on in the race. They brought it back from behind the wall, just going to try to log some laps, possibly pick up positions right now. The car in front of her, 12th spot, that has 4 laps on her. Ronald Williams is actually still on the racetrack, so they're just going to try to get some practice. Pretty much, Jeffrey Mays again may have lost that race car 0.8 of a second back now, and continuing to drop off of Sansone and Williams. Keep an eye on that, but it's still Paul Williams up front. And I'm taking a look, and you can see these guys wheeling these cars in that cockpit. They are going for it, especially Sansone, but nobody would want this win more than Ryan Steele.
Definitely, but I gotta tell you, the man who wants it even more than Ryan Steele is the man out front and doing everything he can to hold off Vinny Sansone, and that's Paul Williams. Paul Williams, again, 500ths was the margin of victory that he lost to Vinny Sansone last week. He wants it even more and just ran one of his fastest laps of the race at 26.878 and follows that up with a 26.880. Again, just giving it all the beans that he can possibly throw at it. Paul Williams wants this win as we're inside 25 laps to go now.
Yeah, who would have told you that the laps get faster the longer these guys go, but that's the way the tires work. They're no longer cold. You get some heat in them, and you guys can really move. And these guys, they're really not just cruising around. I mean, they are driving these race cars, trying to get anything out of it that they can. I mean, they are on lap 52 rather of 75, so the laps start quickly wind down. We're going to see if we have another late race caution. Vinny Sansone, though, continuing to try to figure out some sort of way to catch that 2 of Paul Williams. He's not dropping back, but he's really not making up any distance. He's going to try to have to test out some lines and figure something out here before it's too late.
Definitely. And I gotta say, the only way that Sansone's gonna get around Paul Williams is if Paul Williams makes a mistake. I hope we do not jinx the 2 of Paul Williams. He's certainly earned and deserved any chance at a victory he can possibly earn. And let me tell you something, Evan. You know, we've been pretty unlucky tonight in jinxing a few people with trying to bring a spotlight to them. Certainly hope that does not happen to our leader, Paul Williams. And again, it looks like he pulls another car length out over Vinny Sansone, and he just clicked off a 26.798. Paul Williams is coming out of 2.
Again, incredibly fast lap. That's his fastest lap of the day. So when you're Vinny Sansone, how are you going to beat a guy that just keeps getting faster? Sansone running up with those quick lap times as well, but significantly dropping back, so to speak, from Paul Williams. I mean, a tenth really isn't a lot, but by Sansone standard it is. And then look at that, he just drives it back in there in turns 1 and 2, and he's back to that 0.2 of a gap distance. So Sansone not ready to give up as he continues to try to drive it in there and catch that 2, and he made good progress on this lap, and he's going to gain at least a 10th off of turn 4. So Sansone still hanging around up front, but it is Paul Williams in front. I do believe he may have led all the laps so far in this race.
Williams is right there. Sansone is right up the tail tank of Paul Williams. He is right there. Do not count out the one of Sansone before this is all said and done. We are inside 20 laps to go, getting ready to make it 19 laps to go here as we come out of turn number 4. Williams is on it, but lap traffic will be a factor. We'll have to see if they get out of the way or if they hold up the 2 of Paul Williams. Sansone is just not giving up yet. I see that Sansone drops back and saves his tires a little bit as Williams is he's dropping off and running 26.8s instead of 26.7s like he has been the last few laps. Sansone saves his tires for 3 or 4 laps, and then he can go run 26.6s and 26.7s. Holy cow. We are right there as lap traffic is all over the place. The 2 of Paul Williams looks to the inside of the lap car. Sansone does the same. The lap car does not give them any trouble. Sansone closes right up within about a car length or so coming out of 2. Sansone is on the hammer and running down your leader, Paul Williams, going into 3.
And again, at this mile racetrack with just over 9 degrees of bank, and it looks like slow speeds, when you got to put this into perspective, Paul Williams is going about 170 miles an hour into turn number 1. These guys are moving. They're not dropping anywhere below 100 miles an hour in the corner, so these things are getting around this place quick time. So you gotta have a pair to keep going around this track and these things, and this is the kind of racing that you want to see that brings the attention to the short track racing and iRacing, because this has been a great race so far. And again, it's great to see the determination of the drivers to really not give up on it, as Sansone is still right there applying the pressure.
The pressure is on. Sansone looks to the outside, can't do anything with your out of 2, loses about a car length as the lap car stays up out of the way in the middle of 3 and 4. Good job to him. We'll have to see if he lets off and lets Sansone around. He does. We are right there. 2 car lengths is what separates your leader in second place. Inside of 0.2 of a second here as we're 15 laps to go this time by. Let me tell you, the battle is on. Sansone looking to the inside, gets that run, and closes off, takes about a car length out of you. Paul Williams, he's slowing down. He's burned off his tires. We'll have to see if he can keep the one behind him here as we still have 14 laps to go this time by, Evan. Man,
Yeah, definitely another lap car is going to be the 12. George Hagan, they made his way. They've already made their way around him, rather. Jeffrey Mays just making his way around again. Mays was in this battle with these top 2 guys for the longest of time, but after we went back green, Mays really hasn't had much in his race car. Still hanging on the 3rd by almost 7 seconds, but definitely significantly out the pace of the leaders, dropping to now about 2 seconds back. Sansone only 1/10 off, and he does not want to see that 2 car get any farther away. And I just can't believe these guys are still this close together. This is great racing, and with the laps continuing to wind down, the intensity is only going to go up as we come by the stripe this time around to take about 13 laps to go.
Lap 63 will be complete. 12 laps to go. That's all it left. Laps to go here at the Milwaukee Mile here. Paul Williams has led every lap so far, but do not count out the car directly behind him. Looking to the inside, coming out of turn 2. There are 2 lengths now separating the 2 and the 1 car. Paul Williams and Vinny Sansone. Sansone does his best to roll it in deeper, turns that car down, tries to keep it low, takes a car length out of your leader, Paul Williams. 11 laps to go this time by, Evan. What a job by Vinny Sansone. He is not giving up.
Definitely taking a look at their onboards right now. It looks like Sandstone's trying to get a little bit more of an arc into the corner, but I mean, your entrance really has nothing to do with how to get off the corner because it all depends on where you're on the gas and where you're not. And you really just need to have that car to take the action that you want it to. You see Sandstone got a run there coming to the exit of the corner, but he didn't have the grip. He had to get it out of the gas, let the car go straight again, and then he picked up the gas, and that's really the problem that he's having with Paul Williams because Williams is running such consistent laps. Sandstone really just needs to try to find that grip that no one's found tonight and try to make a move, and he is right there on the back bumper of that number 2 of Paul Williams. He just can't get it done. He's going to get real close there in turn 3. He's got a great run, and he could look to the inside here off 4. Who knows? He's going to look to the inside. He doesn't have the run, though.
Williams shuts the door on Sansone going across the start-finish line. Williams to the bottom. Sansone looking a bit to the outside. Looks to turn under him and cross over. Coming out of 2. 1 car length is what separates your leader in second place. Lap car up ahead. I can't tell who that is right offhand, but that may be a deciding factor in it. I do believe it's Ian Seeley in the 11 car. The number 2, Paul Williams, is right up there. We'll have to see if the lap car gives way. What a battle we got going on here, and this is a perfect opportunity, Evan, for the one of Vinny Sansone to save his tires as we're inside 6 or 7 laps to go here or so.
And they shouldn't have to deal with much more lap traffic because the next car in front of them, the 8 Marcus Dean, is off a turn.
Side by side for the lead.
Oh, yeah,
side by side.
Yeah, Sansone to the inside. He's going to make it stick. Paul Williams on the outside. He's not going to give up. Sansone to the lead. And now will Paul Williams be able to do it on the offense? He's going to throw it down in there to the inside. Can't make it stick. And after laps and laps of trying, it's Vinny Sansone up front.
Same old song and dance. Paul Williams does everything he can to win and comes up just short. I don't think he has the car here. Sansone coming to look to take 6 laps to go this time by. Extends out another car. I'm going to have car lengths now going into turn number 1. From Sansone drifts up a little bit, gets that really good turn and drive, center off the corner, adds another half a car length going down the straightaway. I just do not think Paul Williams has what it takes to run down new leader Sansone. Coming out of turn number 4, 5 laps to go. Not a whole lot of battles on the track here. Everybody's single file here. We'll have to see if Paul Williams can make one mad last lap dash like he did last week. Time will only tell, Evan, here as we got 4.5 laps to go. Caution on the speedway. I do not know if this is enough to clinch it. Let's see, lap 71. I think we might get a green and white checker dash. Time will only tell. I do not know, Evan. What was the cause of the caution?
I'm still trying to find that. Again, the would have come back around the stripe, I do believe, to take somewhere around 4 or 5 laps to go. I can't really find the cause of the incident. I don't see any sort of large shuffle in the standings. It was the 6. Ronald Williams, 25 laps down. Going to take a look at the replay. For him, he was running lap 45 as he was 25 laps down, going into turn number 4, or into turn 3 rather, on the bottom there. Got sideways, and then as soon as he got into the grass, it just spun him straight around. He actually got into the inside wall off 4, drove it straight down pit road, and that could end this race.
time will only tell here. We need the lights to go up on the pace car next time by. I do believe the lights are still on the pace car. I had a false hope here. I was hoping for a green and white checker. We'll have to see if the lights go off on the pace car the next time. So we'll get a one lap dash to the finish. Otherwise, Vinny Sansone will be your leader, and it would be a repeat of what happened in the sprint car race here. Leader at 4 laps to go takes the checker flag on a late race caution. Time will only tell Evan, but nonetheless, a great job by the two of Paul Williams. And just Vinny Sansone bided his time, saved his tires, and just got around the two of Paul Williams. Cannot say enough about these two guys giving us a great show here on ETV Live.
And even if we do get the lights off here on the pace car, which means we'll go to get a one-lap shootout, I don't think Paul Williams can get it done because Vinny Sansone is going to get that jump on the start. Paul Williams is really going to have to get a great run and try to make it work down the back straightaway and really throw it into turns 3 and 4. We're going to find out. The Ford First Racing Mustang pace car crosses the stripe. The lights do not turn off. It is over. Vinny Sansone, familiar sight to victory lane. Paul Williams going to finish in the bridesmaid seat.
One battle that I would have liked to seen in a last-second dash would have been between the 4 and the 3 of Jeffrey Mays and Ryan Steele. Mays did not give any favors to Ryan Steele earlier in the race, sent Steele around in turn 3 and 4, collecting another car or 2. I do believe the 7 of Dayton Gank was also involved in that as well. The 8 of Marcus Dean was also involved in that incident as well, having to dodge the wreck in the spinning cars. Just really, really unfortunate luck. Really hope to see a finish as what we had not going to doing about 55 miles an hour. Evan here would be about another minute here. Caution here. What?
And definitely, and we do have confirmed a report that Leela Wilson, who had issues earlier on in the race, had a power failure. So electrical issues with that is what put her out of the race. So she made a comment that if it wasn't for bad luck, she'd have none. So a rough race for Leela Wilson, who is actually doing fairly well in the sprint car points and is sitting 23rd in the Silver Crown points for this series. So another tough night out for that number 10 team. Again, lights still on the pace car. White flag has been out. The leader, Vinny Sansone, just got to pace through 2 more turns, and he'll be going to victory lane.
Definitely, and a great job to everybody involved. These cars are very, very tough. A lot more fuel on board these cars. Evan was 6 laps. It's basically underpowered pavement runners here. Just have a little bit of aerodynamic fairing here. Is coming off a turn number 4. Checker flag in the air. Vinny Sansone gets it done. Gets it around the 2 of Paul Williams late stage in the race, catches the caution flag so he does not have to feel any more pressure. Great job by the 1 of Vinny Sansone. Paul Williams takes home the 2nd spot. Tough luck for him. I know he wanted to win badly after the race last week. Jeffrey Mays, he takes home the 3rd spot. Ryan Steele, after that incident in the middle portion of the race, he ends up taking home the 4th spot. Thomas Margula started 2nd. Better job this week. He recovers after his early race spin to finish 5th. Dayton Gank finishes in the 6th spot. Thomas Armstrong finishes in the 7th spot. Marcus Dean, he's the last car on the lead lap. He finishes 8th. Daniel Muse, after starting from pit road, he finishes 9th, 1 lap down. Right behind him is the 12 of George Hagan. Ian Seeley, I believe he started right around the 11th or 12th spot. He finishes 11th. Leela Wilson, after power failure, recovers to take 1 more spot. She finishes 12th. And Ronald Williams rounds out your field. He finished 13th.
And you have to give credit to Vinny Sansone. He's going to take a 2nd straight win. Obviously, we saw that crazy finish last week. It was going to be a pretty crazy one if we got to go back green, I would think. But he worked for so long on Paul Williams. I mean, he started 5th, I do believe. I'm going to double check that. He started 5th, and we saw that at the beginning. He made up 2 spots in 1 corner, and he was sitting 2nd so long. He was consistent. He kept the pressure up on Paul Williams, and as soon as Paul Williams maybe slipped up just a bit, he capitalized on it, drove away. The caution flag flew out, and you could say maybe a little bit of luck there with getting the caution flag, but I think he had a race car to win the race. And also hats off to Paul Williams for hanging on and blocking. Not blocking, but maintaining his position also for so long with all the pressure that Sansone was applying. But Paul Williams probably does not like finishing 2nd 2 races in a row, so I'm going to keep an eye on him next week because that's just going to make him more determined to get the victory lane.
Definitely. Probably not going to have any interviews scheduled here, so we'll just jump right into last thoughts here, Evan. I gotta tell you, up until the late race caution, I thought we were going to have somewhat of a repeat of what we had last week at the Kentucky Motor Speedway. And in fact, the guys that finished 1st, 2nd, and 3rd last week, and even in the 4th spot, they finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th this week. Same old song and dance, different track.
When you got these cars figured out, you got them figured out again. Vinny Sansone, victory lane, points leader going into tonight by 32 points, I want to say, over Paul Williams. Paul Williams led laps, just couldn't get it done at the end, so he's going to stay in that 2nd spot for now. So we have to keep an eye again. These guys, some of them trying to get the win in all 3 series to get that Triple Crown. Again, this short track race is brought to you by the Double Clutch Marketing Group that he was. The USTRA, the United States Short Track Racing Association. All in all, a great night out at the racetrack. I was looking forward to a green flag finish, but everything up until the point where the race was done from that caution flag was pretty exciting up front. And then we also had battles pretty much all over the racetrack as well, so there was never really any dull moments in this race.
Definitely not, and I'd like to take this opportunity to... I want to take this opportunity to thank John Wessling on the cameras, doing a great job tonight. Evan, I do believe we actually might have a couple of interviews here, so we might want to send this commercial break. What do you think?
Yeah, just seeing the action on pit road, some drivers doing some media stuff, but some of them look like they may be able to come over and talk to us, so I just want to hold off on going away to see if we can speak to any of our top finishers. Not too sure at the moment, but just want to keep an eye on that and not take away an opportunity from them to thank their friends, sponsors, family, and whatnot, and then give us some insight on the race too. So just want to keep an eye to see if anybody joins. I'm hearing some discussions, so just keep an eye on that at this moment. But again, great race.
Definitely, Evan, and just tough luck for Paul Lans. Really wanted to win last week, and gets past, just before the caution flag at the end of the race. You definitely got a feel for Paul Williams, and that's what I hear is none of the drivers are willing to make their way over here to the ETV booth here for an interview. Evan, again, great job tonight, and we'll see people next week here for the next round in the Triple Crown Series. I am Justin Rose now, Evan Pasoko in the booth with me, and John Magic Fingers Westling on the cameras, and we'll see you next week, folks. That's all. Have a good night.